Imagine what it would feel like to know with 100% certainty that every single piece of copy you write would have people clamoring to know more. If you could sit down at the keyboard and know exactly what to write that had them hooked. For no one to ever unsubscribe from your list or think, I'll save that for later, only to never come back to it. And to have complete and utter confidence that every single email, sales page, or social post you write would bring you back thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars. As readers are whipped up into a frenzy, drawn closer and closer towards the buy button. And while they don't know why, they just can't stop themselves from pulling out their credit card and signing themselves up for whatever you're selling. Well, the good news, doing this is not only achievable, it's simple too. Because when you know what we're going to share with you today, you'll effortlessly craft captivating copy that people simply cannot stop reading. Gone will be the days of blank page syndrome, where you stare at an empty Word doc for hours on end. Other copywriters will be asking, where did you learn to write like that? And best of all, your words will make money every single time for you and your clients. And the best part, you don't need to learn any new skills to do this. And we're going to cover it in detail so you can start applying this today in just the next 30 minutes. So that right there was an example of what today's training is about, which is future pacing. So we thought we'd set it up with something a bit different and a chance for me to practice my acting and delivery skills. So I am available for hire for anyone who needs a BSL read out for exceptionally cheap rates, seeing as I'm so abysmal at it. So, yeah. Anyway, future pacing is the topic of today's training. So as that was hopefully a good example of, future pacing is the idea that you start off something with the sole intention of getting people excited to learn more. So you do a bit of, and we'll go into all these in detail, but you do a bit of talking about the benefits, you talk about the outcomes, and you also throw in a bit of curiosity, a bit of teasing, so that you've got their attention from both points. They want to know, they want to close those loops of the curiosity you've opened, and they want to get the benefits that you've stated very, very clearly. So that, in essence, hopefully the example helped, is future pacing.
Yeah, I'd like to think of it as a way of engaging the reader with the copy a little bit more. Like you're getting them to imagine this stuff. You're engaging their mind, their senses, really, because you're transporting them to like in that example, you're moved to this position and mentally where all of this is now happening. So if you're trying to tell someone about this amazing product, it's like actually showing them it with showing it in action in their life, like it's already occurred. And there's this mental thing that goes on where they just want they want that. So it brings them closer to the end goal, which sounds a bit like woo-woo and kind of conceptual, but that's kind of what you're doing really with that sort of stuff. You're engaging their vision. Like if you're doing it with food stuff or like with keto diets and all that sort of stuff, you can get them to smell the scents, you can get them to taste the flavors, and you can even do that with this sort of stuff. Imagine what it'll be like when you can go for a walk on the beach hand in hand with your family without having to stress about financial concerns and stuff like that. Like you're getting them to feel their partner's hand in their hand, the stress going away from their body, the sense of relief and all that sort of stuff. So you're, like I say, you're engaging their senses.
That for me is the big thing. Is it's the sense thing is huge in terms of you're actually getting someone to feel what it would be like. And a lot of the times people sometimes fall a bit short with that, in terms of we're very good about talking about the benefits of, let's use copyright for an example. It's great because you'll be able to earn 250 quid an hour for just sitting at a laptop. You'll be able to work from Starbucks. You'll be able to buy your family great stuff at Christmas. That's all fine, but actually future pacing works much better when you can do things like, and this is being created on the fly, but you can say to people, you'll be able to, sit down at your favorite corner table in Starbucks, feel, love the fact you're sitting there with people all around you who are, hustling and bustling, having, super stressed, ready to go to work, and you're there sipping your pumpkin spice latte, knowing that actually all you've got to do for the rest of the day is to write 2 emails, and you're gonna end your Starbucks session 500 quid better off than you were beforehand. That's not great copy, obviously, but it's that idea that you're talking about other bits. You're getting super specific, which is where research is quite important. It's where actually knowing your audience is really, really important, because we can all talk about surface level benefits, but this is one of the things that I'll often try and drum into people, not from a future pacing sense, just from a general copy sense, that oftentimes the more specific you can go with it, the better, because that actually is very, very visceral, and it helps people understand it and actually put themselves there a lot more. So yeah, the sights, the sounds, the smells, tastes as well, even might not suit all offers, but yeah, there's.
Well, in that example, you can get them to taste their favorite drink.
Yeah.
You know, they can taste that flavor as they're watching everyone else around them get like in a mad rush, like suited and booted, getting ready to go to the office, and they're there in their joggers or whatever. You know, whatever it is, you can paint that picture, and you can get them to imagine what that's like. But I think as one thing that you can also do is go like the benefit beyond that, or the benefit behind that, because you can engage in that scenario. You could say, and you're able to go and pick your kids up from school and take them to the park for an hour, where instead of being stuck in an office waiting for 5 o'clock to hit or something like that. I mean, it's not, again, great copy, but there's more to it than the surface level benefit. And if you can engage the senses and then get them to see actually what taking the action you're asking them to do today will provide them, which isn't just the, lose 20 pounds, isn't just the earn 500 quid a day in that example, isn't just the quit your job. It's the stuff that provides them. It's the ability to hear the postman come in the morning and not be worried about the thud on the floor being a load of credit card bills that they can't keep up with anymore. Instead, they're checks from clients. Like, that's just an easy switch. It's like, wow, that's exciting for them. It's the ability to go and pick their kids up from school, and you can paint that picture. It's the chance. It's the little moment when they step out of the shower, and instead of it being ashamed of what they see in the mirror, it brings a smile to their face. And then when their partner comes in and they see that look of desire on their eye that they haven't seen in years, it's those little moments that you can just paint, those things that they just haven't dreamt of for a while because they didn't think it was possible. I like to try and make it believable as well, because we can make all these grand claims, but really, I think if you imagine it, if you've never made 10 grand a month from copy, if you've never made £1,000 a month from copy, it's probably more believable to say, let's help you get your first paying gig, before we say, let's get you a $10,000 sales letter. Like, you can't fathom that. So you can make these things believable on the journey towards the bigger goal as well. So you can make the grand promises, but you need to bring it down as well and make it believable in these little moments through the future pacing. That's kind of how I like to think of it.
Yeah, definitely. Like a lot of stuff that also links back to knowing your audience, knowing what they want, because this stuff will often come up in conversation with people. Whether that's, and by conversation, I don't necessarily just mean face-to-face conversation with a prospect. I mean, talking to the client, if you're writing copy for them, in terms of doing your research, you'll have some stuff that comes up that you might not really think that much of at the time. As in, like, I was doing some stuff for a digestive supplement the other day, and there were lots of amazing testimonials there, like this, this cured everything for me. I didn't have any issues after taking this. But then other ones were simple things like, it was cool because I got to go out to eat for the first time. Well, actually, if you can do some future pacing on something like that, as in, once you know this digestion hack we're going to share with you today, you'll be able to go out and do simple things like sit at a restaurant with friends, no longer stressing over what to pick off the menu, for example. And this bit's, I guess maybe switching gears slightly, but I wanted to add as well that this can kind of be used in pretty much any medium: social post, email, sales letter, video script. You may often find it a bit more even. I don't know if that's just my experience, but yeah, I think video scripts often start with this. And also you can use it anywhere in your copy as well. So the example at the start was clearly at the beginning of something, but you can do this throughout the copy, and you would also almost certainly do it at the close. So when you present your, what we call a crossroads position, you give them the two options, and they are essentially future pacing. Because that's the other thing, you can negatively future pace. You can talk about, actually, if you don't take this decision, here's what your life could look like. You can still be waking up with inbox anxiety, thinking, I've got to go and check my email the minute you wake up, because you're dreading that Google Doc with all those red marks coming back from Mike and Jamie, for example. Or you can look forward to waking up and wanting to open your inbox, knowing you've got super nice feedback from them that tells you what an amazing copywriter you are, for example. So it can be negative and positive.
It also needs to be believable, though. So I'll say. I'm joking. Yeah, picking up on a couple of points, Mike, you just mentioned there, Mike. With the research thing, you can find a lot of the stuff that you can include in your when people are talking about their pain. So if someone's moaning about the fact that they haven't been able to get to sleep because of their back pain, well, then you just flip that on its head. And you can talk about how they'll finally be able to like rest their head on the pillow at night. And before they know it, they're in a deep, calm, restful sleep, one that lasts for hours and hours, and they wake up feeling refreshed rather than tossing and turning all night, like hoping and praying that just for 5 minutes they can get a glimmer of hope, sort of hope, rest or something like that. Generally, like if you're doing this in the close, I would tend to focus on the positive though. I wouldn't bring in the negative like I just did then. You just focus on the positive because you want them to take a positive action. You don't want them to, you're providing them hope. That's what you're doing. You're not bringing in their pain. So you're providing a hope to the pain that they already have, that they know they have, and you've probably already highlighted earlier on in the sales letter. You're now providing them a way out of that in a nice way. There was something else, but as per usual, it's shot straight out of the mind. So,
did you want to go into examples?
Yeah.
Which one? I've got.
That was it. You mentioned, sorry, the old plugin. In the close as well, like you mentioned the Crossroads close, that you'd use it out. I tend to use it as well. So I've introduced a product. I've told them what it will be about. I'll have some bullet points, and then I'll probably use some future pacing there to get them to imagine all of this stuff in action in their life. I can show an example of that as well, but I just thought I'd mention that there.
Cool. Do you want to do your examples first, or I can go for mine, whatever's easier?
Okay. So that's the thing you just shared. Right, okay, so this is that classic blue light blocker pair of weird sunglasses things. You've probably seen this if you've studied some of the classic copy. And I wanted to point out this, you can't highlight it as a picture, but this paragraph here is actually a dialogue between two people, but because of the way it's written, you put yourself in the story. So I'll read it from the top. We'll get to there. It won't take long. So I'm about to tell you a true story. If you believe me, you will be well rewarded. If you don't believe me, I'll make it worth your while to change your mind. Let me explain. Len is a friend of mine who has an eye for good products. One day he called excited about a pair of glasses he owned. It's so incredible, he said. When you first look through a pair, you won't believe it. What will I see? I asked. What could be so incredible? Len continued. When you put on these glasses, your vision improves. Objects appear sharper, more defined. Everything takes on an enhanced 3D effect. And it's not my imagination. I just want you to see for yourself. So it's dripped in there quite subtly, I think. You've got this, when you look for your first pair, you won't believe it. Because of the way it's written, it's getting you to sort of like imagine what's he on about. And then this whole, your vision improves. Objects appear sharper, more defined. It's getting you to see through this pair of glasses in quite a subtle way what this is like. And I think, if I remember rightly, it is dripped here and there throughout this. But I thought that to start with is a pretty good way of getting you, especially with the topic. It's literally about your eyes. I think that's just a smart example.
It's nice and simple as well, because obviously the example we had at the start was long. And so actually, if you want to have something that's a bit simpler to put together, then that's a great way of doing it without having to write a whole page of copy.
Yep. Next up, we've got, this is a Dan Ferrari sales letter, a Genesis supplement. This did really well for years. And we're looking at the close here. I'll do a search in a minute on the page because there are other parts that where it's sprinkled in, but this is in the close. Quite far into the close, they know what the offer is. Now they're being sort of drawn to the business end, and we'll pick it up from here. All they have to do is click the button below now. Then get ready, because in a few days, your 2 trial bottles of Genesis will arrive at your front door. That's where the fun begins. All you need is 1 capsule per day. In the first day or 2, you'll notice a total cellular transformation going on inside your body. Little by little, you'll start to feel incredible. Then one morning, not long from now, you'll skip out of bed, say, yes, skip, and it'll hit you. The little aches and pains, the dense brain fog, the feeling of wondering if you'll have the energy to make it through the day, even some of your most visible signs of aging have all vanished, as if you had some kind of magic wand. Then the most important moment of all, that voice in the back of your mind, anxious about an uncertain future, always worrying when the other shoe will drop. Yes, that voice will be gone too. You'll be free, because with Genesis, you'll know your health is safe and protected. That, my friend, is a wonderful place to be. So kind of, I wouldn't say that's the most like intense feature pacing there. And like I said before about focusing on the positive, this subtly brings in the negative, but without going too deep. And then it just says they're all going to be vanished. There are probably a load of promises that could have been made here, but this might have been written with a bit more compliance in mind, because this was doing extreme scale and volume, and that means that the Feds are looking, basically. So, but it's still engaging the reader. It's getting them to imagine what they're going to do. So a couple of days from now, this stuff's going to arrive at the front door. They just have to take that. In the first couple of days, this is what they're going to experience. And then they're going to experience this other stuff. So again, it's quite subtle. I think it's not really in your face. It's not like it's come in with this big, like, now imagine for a second, you're transported to another dimension.
It's easy to model though, isn't it? Which is a good thing.
Yeah, that's like easily swipeable, that sort of stuff. I think if I do a search on the page, if I can do that, I can. It's just it's hidden here. Imagine. Yeah. Okay. This is in the lead, I think this was. Yeah. So where are we? Not that one. Here. Yeah. So we got these bullets that are kind of doing a similar job. So these are definitely more sort of like benefit driven sort of things. But I would say that's still in a way future pacing. It's not really doing the whole narrative version of it, but it is getting them to kind of dream a little bit, which is kind of what future pacing is, just getting someone to think outside the box, imagine, open their mind up to another possibility, really. Any thoughts on that bit or next example?
I can go next example. The only thing I'd touch on there is just saying that actually the good thing about doing it like that and with bullet points is, again, it's simple to do. Plus, you can touch on a number of different benefits. So, for example, he's got the sort of the feeling benefit. Then the next one's kind of status and pride, almost a bit of envy of others. The next bit is sort of a beauty-based benefit. Then it's Isaac-Hawke, almost. It's not quite intelligence, is it? But it's kind of intelligence, being able to see better, that kind of thing. And the bottom, again, sort of an intelligence one, a very visual one of being leaner and just being generally happier. So again, for something to model, you could certainly take that in terms of if you're writing an offer for copywriting, you could have the money-based benefit like that. You could have the lifestyle-based one. You could have the showing up as a better parent to your kids, that kind of stuff.
I think if you think about who this is probably going to appeal to, it's probably someone that's, I would say, approaching or the other side of 60, this offer, because it's definitely an aging related supplement that they offer this is about. So you've got to think immediately they're going like joints and muscles are probably like, if they, through the research, they would have figured out that this is all stuff that is an issue for these people. So joints, and muscles that wouldn't have been feeling great, they will again. The ability, like this is pure like heartstring sort of stuff, bringing in the grandkids. Because you imagine if you're concerned about your aging, you're slowing down, your muscles ache, your joints ache, and then all of a sudden you've got like grandkids on the scene. You want to give them your best, but your body's too knackered to do so. Like that is just pure full on bang. It hits that moment. This is probably more aimed at the female side, I would imagine. I don't know if blokes are so much bothered about that sort of stuff, but this might have been aimed at women. I'm not sure. Again, that eyes like, they've probably missed the A there, but eyes like a hawk is another thing that I'd imagine if you did like spend any time digging into this market would probably be another factor. Like their prescriptions are constantly having to get updated because their eyes just aren't as good as they were, and that comes with it expense and stuff. And then again, it's all linked in. It's all linked into this sort of stuff, the aging. So that's something to bear in mind there. So in other words, if you were just going to be writing for, I don't know, a sleep supplement or something like that, or that digestive one you mentioned earlier, Mike, if they're aimed at a younger crowd, some of this stuff might not be that applicable. So that's where your research comes in.
Yep.
Next example.
Cool.
So this one is one of Stefan Georgi's company's sales letters. I can't remember the Bioharmony Plus, that's it. So again, this is, I should have just scrolled up because it's right there. This is again is in the sort of like that. So this is the product intro, product reveal. And like I said before, you kind of give a couple of the benefits of what it does, tells them what it does, and then bring in some of the future pacing. So here, if we just analyze what's going on, they've revealed the product, telling us what it is. It's the solution that's going to do all this. A couple of easy bullet points that will mean stuff to the people. And then here's what happens. Days from now, no matter what your age, weight, or what you've tried before, bottom line, this will work for you. In fact, the first thing you'll notice is that you feel calm and carefree, just like when you were young. Next, you'll see the scales move. With each extra day that goes by, you will look in the mirror and literally, how fat appears to be vanishing from your stomach, arms, legs, and face. I'm imagining there should be a word C there. And take it from me, there's nothing better than seeing your unwanted weight melt off your body. You'll notice a bounce in your step. You'll be happier. The aches and pains you've struggled with will feel better, or maybe disappear altogether. But my favorite part, and Dr. Sterling's biggest promise, in as little as 7 days of use, your friends, family, and colleagues will start to notice a change, and they won't be able to hold back the compliments, and they'll definitely ask your secret. When you tell them, they won't believe it's so easy, etc., etc., etc. But the point is here, it's getting them to see immediately what the product can do for them. It's engaging the senses again, especially like when it's weight loss and stuff like that. Eyes, sort of feelings, the compliments one. So they're sort of like, it's almost like a movement away from shame and towards pride. I would say that's probably going on some like from an emotional level, because if you imagine at the moment they're overweight and they're not happy, they won't want to look in the mirror because they'll be ashamed to. And instead, when they do look in the mirror now, they won't see fat vanishing, they'll see it gathering. So if you think about all the stuff that they're experiencing now that they hate, future pacing is the opposite of that. Basically, like friends and family don't give them compliments at the moment. They just don't mention how they look because they're too embarrassed to, embarrass the other person or something like that.
The bit there about was it like within a week people start to notice or something? That part, 7 days. That part reminded me of something that I was taught by mutual friend Dan Meredith, when he said when he sat down with potential clients and he was doing personal training, he would say to them, okay, here's the results I'm looking for us to get. In 2 weeks, you might not actually see that much difference, but you're going to feel a lot better. In 4 weeks, I'm expecting that you'll have lost X many pounds and you might have dropped a dress size. In 8 weeks, you're going to look like this and feel like this. So that you can get very, very specific if you want to. Obviously, I wouldn't have it too formulaic if it's on a sales page or an email or something, but something like that here, the as little as 7 days, that kind of thing is ideal because that gives them it gives them some tangibility, some measurability in what they're going to achieve as well. So if you can add that in, it feels natural. I would definitely put in a time frame, provided you keep it compliant, obviously, which this is more compliant because it's as little as 7 days rather than saying in a definite 7 days.
I think where you've got like, so this is all health stuff, so you definitely have to be careful with that. Unless it was, I don't know, something that does take immediate effect and there's like backed up research that shows it. But when it comes to maybe like info products, or like we were saying with the copywriting, in as little as 7 days, let's say here's an example. If you were writing, if you were downloading Mike's autoresponder, you have an autoresponder lead magnet, don't you?
I did have, yeah.
Yeah, I know you did have because I downloaded it a few times. I think by following me around the internet. So there it could be like in the next day you can have your welcome email set up ready to move clients to, help prospects fall in love with your offer and stuff like this. And 7 days from now you can have a sales stuck in autoresponder in place, just spending as little as 20 minutes a day editing a few simple templates or whatever it may be. It's like you can promise that because that's what they have to do. You haven't implied that 7 days from now they're going to just have this amazing thing without doing any work, but it's the way you frame the work as well. Because if someone's downloading something like that, there's work involved. That is like an obvious fact, but it's still you can still frame it in a positive way. Is what I'm trying to get out there. And I also think the interesting thing about here that we've not pointed out is the visual side of this. Like there's this young woman, relaxed, happy, content. That is indicative of all of what's going on here, the visual elements. I think that's smart. Now, as a copywriter, you may or may not be involved with the visual elements, but if you think, like for instance, if you're writing this stuff and you thought actually this is a product that's aimed at young women, it'd be great to have a content sort of like relaxed looking young woman in this part of the page. Put the cue in, put the sort of the suggestion there in the copy, so you can bring it like a picture tells 1,000 words, as they say. So use pictures if you can,
or just become a photographer, give out copy.
Start like obviously do it in a socially distanced fashion. So just look for people that are relaxed in their front rooms and go and take a pic through the front window because that's not weird. I can do one more with the Crossroads close, or we can go on to yours.
Yeah, if you got one, let's go for it and do mine after.
The classic golf page that I seem to have only the one piece of copy I've ever written. There's loads of future pacing in this. I'm just going to see if I can pull it out as we go through. Here you go in the lead. So we've got this guy, this narrative of this dude, Dave. Then the narrator comes in, starts saying what his real issue is, and then it's turned to the reader. There you go. I can show you how to avoid all this sort of stuff. And this is just future pacing. It's getting them to imagine what it's going to be like when they step up to the tee and hit a straight drive and stuff. And this is getting their mates to, this is a conversation that their mates will be asking them, etc., or having with them rather. So that's in the lead. Excuse me as I flick through to the close. Bonuses still. Here's more future pacing in the close. So this is where the price reveal is. There's tons of it in here. If you haven't seen this before, there's the link at the top. You can go and check it out. It converted, so I can say that it worked, which is nice. Loads of future pacing here. Let's find the Crossroads close. You can even, like, I think I even got it in the guarantee. Yeah. Like, it's getting them to imagine what it's going to be like, and I've framed the guarantee in a way that is future paced. I swiped that from somewhere else, so I'm not taking credit for that. Where is it? Oh, here you go. Do I see it? You've got two options. Three options, sorry. Do nothing, do something with the info, or three. There you go. Here's the future pacing, I think. There's a little bit there. So it's not even really that heavy, but you can definitely do the whole A versus B. And I've done that in other sales letters before, where it's you can do nothing with the info that you've taken today, but let's be honest, do you really want to wake up 30 days from now, go to the golf course with your mates for a round, step up to the first tee and hit another drive that just bobbles barely 120 yards or hooks off, something like that? You can do it like that, and then you could frame it differently. So
Yeah.
Cool.
Should I go for my one?
Yeah. Just to remind you guys that, as Mike said at the start, where this can be used in different settings. So obviously, I showed you their sales pages, but and an advertorial there with the glasses thing. But Mike's obviously got this email here. But just to bear in mind, it's the principle that we're kind of getting across here. So if you can sprinkle it into ads, into emails, as we're going to talk about, etc., etc., it's suitable as long as it makes sense.
Yep. So this is an email, and you may well have seen I did as you can see there, my own comments from February did a breakdown of this. I sent it out via email. So you may well have seen this bit before, but this was very, very specific future pacing in terms of it was sent out actually around about September time. So there's a bit of intrigue with the subject line, but it was essentially very much lifestyle related benefits of you're sitting around at Christmas, and I'll have shared this with a few of you before for definite, but you're sitting around at Christmas, here's how things could be. You could be like the people are saying, yeah, the year's been fine, we don't have the spare room, here's what my kid did, here's what the wife and I did on our holiday, and it's very nice, but it's nothing overly special. And then there's you, where you've got this option, crossroads position. You can either have been exactly like that, the same person. Maybe it was you had a nice holiday, you got your bathroom renovated, something like that. Or you could be saying, actually, it's been the best year of my life. I've got this amazing new side hustle that's actually turned into a career. I'm earning double what it was in my job. And it means actually I can have 2 weeks off over Christmas and I never feel like I have to work a day again in my life, that kind of thing. So it was framed similarly, but you can future pace it to an event if you want to. It works as long as you don't overdo it, as in you wouldn't want to always be sending out emails saying, hey, imagine it's Easter and you're sat around doing this, or imagine it's Thursday today, and what if tomorrow night you could be sat at the bar telling people about so and so and whatever. So I wouldn't overuse that one. But
you mean 7 days after sending this, you didn't do like a New Year one?
I missed a trick with that one, I think.
And then the next one was Valentine's Day. Just go through the holiday calendar.
So I suppose this relates back a bit to what we said about being specific, as in it's very, very easy. Everyone will have that traditional family get together that they know of. It might not be Christmas, it might be something else, but everyone can relate to that in some degree, as in friends and family meeting up for something, sitting around together, and you'll automatically, so like when I was writing this, I picture myself in my mum's living room talking with other people, maybe not quite as formally as this, but that sort of thing. So specificity for this, as we said at the start, in terms of the time, location, and senses, getting them to feel it as well. That's pretty big for this. And the other thing as well, I'd say, is if you're doing a physical product particularly, you can even future pace slightly the excitement you get of that arriving. So if you've ordered some kind of physical course or a book, yes, you want to future pace the results they're going to get, but you can also future pace. Imagine that excitement you'll feel someday next week when the post drops on the mat and you run down seeing there's this package there that's got your course in. Did you hear that in the background? The doorbell going. That was really weird timing for that. I didn't set that up.
That's funny. Need to get that.
That's cool. Don't worry. It's probably just some sort of course I've offered being delivered. So yeah, you can do something like that for definite. So yeah, think of different ways you can future pace it. Essentially, is what I'm trying to say. The big stuff, the specific stuff, and then even the smaller stuff of things getting delivered or that kind of thing.
Most importantly, I know that was all great, but are you excited about what's just arrived? That's the main thing, you know.
I don't think I've ordered anything.
Like, tell us what it's actually like to be at the other end of the future pacing.
As long as it's not a bill, I'm excited. So
oh, that's good. But yeah, I think here as well, like you could imagine, you can bring in topical stuff. So right now there's the whole lockdown situations and COVID and things like this. If this were a fitness product, you can get people to imagine what it's like when they bump into I don't know, a work colleague in the supermarket 3 months from now after working from home, and they're like, what's gone on? You know, look at you look amazing. What have you done? I mean, you know, I haven't seen you in the office because we're all working from home. What's going on? What, the gyms are closed. How can you look so incredible? Like you can literally you can imagine that scene, can't you? Two friends or two colleagues or family members bumping into each other or something, and it's like, well, when everyone else is getting fat, they're not. And that's like right for now, this kind of period. But you can use that idea in so many different ways. There's think about like the whole non-COVID situation, lads' holidays in the summer, group of lads getting together, and you know, some of them live here, there, and everywhere, and you all get together on the beach. And a couple of the guys have always had ripped six packs. You've been the guy that's typically been there in your t-shirt, and you take off your top, and all of a sudden, all the girls are swooning at you, sort of thing. Maybe a bit cheesy, but the concept is there. I think like it's easy to play with time and results in that fashion with fitness stuff, because it's a very visual thing anyway. But it's not always about the looks and stuff as well. It's maybe those little, like we said, the benefits behind the benefits. It's like what maybe it's the sense of accomplishment they'll feel, or the pride, or the again, like you did here with your example, Mike. It's the kind of when I first read this, I was like, there's this subtle undertone of everyone else has kind of had this normal existence for the past year, that like this Groundhog Day effect that we all go through each year. But there's this person who's actually changed their life, and the sense of pride that's there. You got another course arriving.
Just what can I say? I'm super popular.
I hope you've been paying your bills. It's not the bailiffs, is it, or anyone like that?
If it is, I'm definitely not answering the door. But yeah, I think a lot, like we said, a lot of it comes down to research and then the big picture stuff and the small minor details as well, and just sort of having some fun with it too. I think it's definitely an enjoyable way to write something, because it is quite visceral and you can get quite into it. It's almost kind of verging on creative writing to a degree, because you're kind of, as we do anyway, sort of telling a story, but even to that next level with it, of really setting a scene rather than just trying to be descriptive about benefits and pain points and stuff.
Mm-hmm. I think it's also used a lot in like phone sales. Mm-hmm. I've done that in the past. I employed it a bit, and you're just getting people to tell you what they want, basically. It's obviously that's a two-way conversation, but copy is just sales in print, so you're still kind of having that two-way conversation in a roundabout way. So it's a sales tactic across the board. I mean, I think maybe we should touch on how you can use it in ads, because it is a little bit different. I think you have to be careful with, like, obviously with Facebook and stuff like that, with their compliance rules. You can't start getting people to You can't start promising stuff that is like absolute and definite, and a lot of the stuff we've shown you here probably wouldn't be Facebook compliant, but you can still employ it. You just have to play within Facebook's rules and then how they would do it. I can't really think of an example off the top of my head, but you just wouldn't be so bold with the promises. Like, for instance, when we're saying like, imagine 2 weeks from now waking up and being like £10 lighter, you couldn't say that, but you could definitely say, imagine what it will feel like to be proud of the body you're in. Well, maybe you wouldn't say the body you're in because it implies that they're not proud of it now, but you'd get them to think about those benefits behind the benefits. So the sense of joy of being able to play with the grandkids on the floor, that if that was a pain supplement and stuff like that, that was compliant because I said the grandkids, not your grandkids as well. So you're not making really sort of surface level get rid of knee pain claims there. It's what does getting rid of knee pain allow them to do? It allows them to roll on the floor with the kids, the grandkids. It allows them to go for a walk hand in hand after dinner with their loved ones. It allows them to take their dog for a walk. It allows them to not be relying on neighbors to come and look after them and lift stuff up and do all this. And they don't feel like a burden on society, upon family. They feel like they've still got their independence. So you can sprinkle all this sort of stuff in into your Facebook ads.
Well, it's definitely a case of taking away the time frame, taking away anything too measurable, especially if it's BizOp or if it's weight loss or anything like that. And certainly more lifestyle related. I think lifestyle related is going to work much better in a Facebook ad because it can be things like, imagine waking up in the morning, going down to your laptop and, how would I frame it? Being excited to start work for the day, opening up your inbox and seeing that you've got sort of super happy emails come through from clients and customers, knowing that you're in complete control of your income, and you only have to work 2 hours a day. That's a bit too clean space. But looking forward to the rest of the day, knowing that you're gonna you can do all your work from the local coffee shop in far less time than ever took you to do your 9 to 5. Again, it's a bit heavy on the yous and yours, but you're not saying, imagine opening up your email and seeing a PayPal notification for 10 grand come through, or imagine being able to replace your salary working just 30 minutes a day. So you're just toning it down, really making it more lifestyle related and what they can do with the results rather than the results themselves, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So I was thinking there, it's like, so imagine someone at the moment is in a job they hate, and if a major bill came up, they'd be worrying, like they'd be sweating because their credit cards have already got a fair amount of debt on them. They don't have many savings, and all of a sudden the boiler packs up or the car goes pop, stuff like that. So you can get them to imagine what that would be like, or what it would be like for that to happen and not be worried about that. So, your new coffee shop copywriting income or business, because then it's not necessarily attached to money. Business gives you the peace of mind of not having to worry about unexpected bills. Again, you'd have to. I find compliance really hard to talk copy. It's so much easier to write it and then do it afterwards. But the concepts are there. You're providing the benefits behind the benefits again. So Ed Ray, I'm going through his compliance course at the moment, and he's saying like it's about one of the easy ways is what does that money provide them, and it's stuff like being able to take their family to Disneyland because that's something they probably always wanted to do but never been able to do. Again, this is obviously a US market that would probably apply to, or the fact that they can book a holiday and upgrade the room, fly first or business class or whatever it is, have champagne on the plane instead of the freebie orange juice or whatever it is. But they're all the little implications behind having a deeper bank account, deeper wallet, deeper pockets. They're all they're the little things that more extra money provide. The little luxuries, the little pieces of mind, the pieces of mind. That's a weird way of putting that phrase, but the little treats, you know, things that it provides that not normal for most people. So.
Yep, good shout. I don't think I was going to add anything else to
I think
that.
we've seen that one to death, to be fair. So
There's a fair bit of good future-facing stuff in there. I think, unfortunately, I didn't craft some fancy ending. Now you can take all the information we've given you and do one of two things with it. I won't finish that off, but there you go. There's a task after you finish this video, is to write your own future-paced close as to what you could do next.
I think the only the thing that popped into my head that I wanted to point out is you don't always have to start with the word imagine.
Mm-hmm.
It's just an easy one. It's an easy cue here, but that would be lazy writing to always just have to think. You have to start with imagine this or whatever. You can sprinkle that stuff in without having to say that. You can transport them to that new place without saying imagine. So imagine that.
And that means it won't sound like a John Lennon song.
This is true. Cool.
Awesome. I think we are good on that. So yeah, hope that was fun, guys. And to be fair, if you do want to write your own close using future pacing on that, then feel free to do so, and we'll happily have a look at it.
Yes, and just imagine what it'll be like when you see the glowing feedback that we provide you, landing in your inbox. Cool. Double thumbs up. See you again.